crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with a One Sheet Wonder template share. I did share this template previously in a 6x6 paper pad tutorial, the Authentique Hunting Paper Pad, but I thought I would create a separate video just in case there were people who are interested in the One Sheet Wonder but not in watching the whole hunting pad tutorial. Maybe that design's not for you, or you're not a big 6x6 paper pad tutorial fan. Just kind of give you some options. I'm using this Sunny Studio striped paper. I like these collections because they're great simple patterns in a beautiful range of colors. There is only one of each sheet in there, but I still find that they're ones that I go to, reach to really easily, or reach for really often, because I know I can create a really nice look with them. They go great with matting, and I can pair them with so many stamp sets, etc. This One Sheet Wonder template is available as a free PDF on my blog, which means that you will get a picture of how to cut the 6x6 piece of paper, and then you will get a coordinating card sketch, so like what I suggest doing with it. My 6x6 templates, my One Sheet Wonder templates are such that you get two cards with the one sheet of paper, and both cards are exactly the same. I may experiment with some different ideas in the future, but that is kind of where I started. I know that's a little bit different than some other One Sheet Wonders, but that's what I like to do. I am starting by cutting my 6x6 piece of paper to 6 by 2 1/4. And then I cut that in half, so I have two pieces that are 3 by 2 1/4. Then I take the remaining 3 3/4 by 6 inch length, and I cut 1/2 inch strips. I love my Swingline Guillotine trimmer, but if you have a 1 inch piece, you can't cut it any smaller for the most part with that trimmer. That is a clear and serious limitation of the trimmer. However, I don't have to constantly replace blades like I used to in my Fiskars trimmer. The Fiskars trimmer, though, will cut smaller slices, and I hear there's rotary cutters out there. I know there are other options, but overall, for the money, I'm very happy with my Swingline. But in this case, I did have to take the remaining 1 by 3 3/4, and I had to hand cut it. I like to batch work on these cards because, like I said, you get two cards from one sheet of paper. However, because I like to be able to mix up my patterns, I usually find myself either using two sheets of single-sided or both sides of a double side. Here I wanted two colors, so I'm going to cut a full piece of blue with the template and a full piece of red and then mix them up. You could, of course, also just change the pattern because one side is diagonal stripes and the other is straight stripes in this pattern paper. But I like to show that even if you have single-sided paper, you can mix up patterns by just creating extra cards. And maybe you're like, I don't need 4 cards, I just need the one. I donate a lot of my cards, and I recommend that you look into that too. It might be something that you find enjoyable, like something to do with the extra cards, or to help you to use up some more supplies because you don't have individuals to give the cards to. So in my video description, there is always a link to my card drive resources page on my blog, and that page gives you a whole list of organizations that you can donate to so that you can pick a cause that resonates with you, and it describes like what kind of cards they need. Then there's a bunch of jokes that you can put inside cards because a lot of organizations do ask for a message inside the card. I find that sometimes I'm not sure what to say, so having those jokes can be a great starting point. All right, so now I'm ready to assemble. Almost all of my One Sheet Wonders have 1/4 inch mats around the pattern paper. Sometimes I do a little smaller, but I think that if you're going to do a card with a lot of pattern paper, adding the cardstock mats can really kind of boost it up a level, and also makes it a little bit easier to get the 2 cards out of the one sheet of paper. You won't get any pattern paper scraps, but you will get cardstock scraps. And I always like to mention that just because I know I kind of advertise it as a no scraps thing. But there will be those cardstock scraps, and I'm going to use those to cut out my sentiment today, and I use them to pop things up because I take 2 layers of cardstock and I glue them together. so that I can add a little dimension behind things like my critter here. This is the MFT Builder Bears stamp set. I believe it is retired at this point. I'm pretty sure it is. But it's one of those stamp sets that I liked and didn't get a chance to use before it retired, which, kind of tells me, maybe I don't need to buy so many stamp sets, but let's not listen to that advice. And I'm going to color the jeans with the B9, so B93, 95, 97. Those are my favorites, the B9s for a look of denim. And then I'm going to use our 393735 for his shirt. I'm basically trying to match the colors in the card. I think that keeping the color palette limited actually helps the cards that are more simple. And that's kind of what happens with one sheet wonder cards. They do tend to be pretty simplistic overall, but you can add a lot of detail to them by coloring really cute critters to go on top of them, by adding layers of dyes and embellishments. To me, they're just kind of a bare bones starting place, and then you can really add as much creativity as you want to them. I'm not going to tell you, like in the sketch, add your sentiment here, add your sequence here, add your, all that kind of stuff, because I want people to be able to use their creativity with it and go as far as they want with it. I'm going to use the E3 series to color in the brown of the bear. I like that it matches well with the craft cardstock, but it's also one of my favorite sets of E markers. The E's are the markers or a set of markers that I use a lot. They are one where I recommend getting more of them. Like you can get away with, 3 or 6 reds, 3 or 6 greens. But if you like to color critters like me, I find I like having a lot of browns to choose from. Or if you like coloring people, a lot of browns for different skin tones is very helpful. So I like coloring both of those kind of images. I kept my shadows really simple, and I focused the shadow coloring on the face. His paws I just colored with the E33 midtone color, and I colored his snout darker than the rest, so that way I didn't have to worry too much about getting if there's any bleeding into the snout area, because I would just be covering it up anyway. Now that I've picked this limited set of markers to color them, I want to color 4 more bears because I have 4 more cards to make. So I'm taking all my markers and putting them together in a project bag. It's a really cool bag that stands up when you open it. So it works really well for markers and coloring. I cut out my bears with my ScanNCut. So what's nice is if you have the same image stamped repeatedly, you can simply cut it one time and not have to keep sending it through the machine. I also die cut out a bunch of thank yous from Concord and 9th. I needed another thank you card, so that's what I'm going to make this first card. The rest of them, I'm probably going to make a more general sentiment so that I can donate it more easily. Thank you is not a popular one that organizations need to donate. They need more like general encouragement type cards, so I'll probably adapt it that way. But I took the scrap cardstock from cutting out the bears and I glued it together so that I could use it to put behind the bear and act kind of like foam tape. To glue all the layers of the sentiments together and to glue the bear onto the card, I'm going to use my Barely Art glue. I really, really appreciate the thin tip, particularly when I'm gluing down sentiments. Even the thinnest sentiments, it seems to work really well and not get a lot of extra mess squeezing out the sides. It dries clear if it does, but that is it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll leave you links to all of the products that I mentioned below, as well as to my blog where you can download this free PDF, and to my other social media in case you want to go follow me over on Instagram or something like that. And I will finally leave you 2 other videos to check out. Thank you so much for joining me and have an awesome day. Bye.